Hello everyone. Today I'll be walking through the installation of AutoOps on a self-managed Elasticsearch cluster. AutoOps is a free cloud tool from Elastic that provides some monitoring, alerting, and troubleshooting that you can do for your Elasticsearch cluster. Elasticflow customers will be finding this feature extremely valuable. It'll help provide troubleshooting steps you can take when you're seeing issues on the Elasticsearch cluster, and will help reduce the time it takes to troubleshoot issues and get the cluster back into a healthy state. The AutoOps tool needs an Elastic Cloud account to be able to use, but you don't need to have a paid license or a paid Elastic Cloud cluster. So you can see that I've got the trial information up. I don't have any payment information and just using a basic license cluster. I've currently got one cluster that is already enrolled in AutoOps. So we see a cluster here. But I'm going to connect a second self-managed cluster. For customers that have a paid account, there's an option for Elasticsearch versions 9.3 and above to enroll in AutoOps through Kibana. But since I'm on just the basic license, I'm going to go through this just one AutoOps section. There's a variety of installation methods you can use. I'm going to be walking through the Linux installation. The Linux host can only run a single Elastic agent, which is what's used for collecting the AutoOps metrics data. If for whatever reason you do need to run multiple agents on a host, you'll want to use one of the containerized options, either Docker or Kubernetes. But we'll walk through the Linux installation. We need to put in our URL for Elasticsearch. Mine's just running on localhost on my node, and I'm using basic authentication. If you've got an API key, you can use that as well. And then you can pick what AWS region your monitoring data gets sent to. So if you've got any kind of data residency requirements, you can select the region that's appropriate for you. I'm on the US West Coast, so I'm just going to send stuff on that side. First thing you'll do is you'll git clone the AutoOps repo onto your machine. I've already got that part done, so I'm just going to cd into that directory. And so then we've got a set of install commands. But first, I'm actually going to run this connectivity check, because it's a little bit easier to troubleshoot the results of the connectivity check than it is to necessarily troubleshoot the direct installation command. With the connectivity check, there's a couple of pre-populated environment variables that get set. And then if you've got authentication, you do need to put in either the username and password, or if you've selected the API key option, you'll have an API key export here. And then there's a couple of other exports that you can set. So I'm using a custom CA cert. So I'm going to need to add this CA environment variable. If you've got a proxy, you can add that as well. I'm going to put it in those exports, and then they've got a script to download and run for the connectivity check. That script is also in the GitHub repo. If you want, you can just run from the repo version that you've already downloaded, or you can run the script that they've provided that downloads again. After setting all those environment variables, the connectivity script has passed, so it's able to connect to my Elasticsearch cluster, pull data, and then also talk back up to the cloud server on the Elastic side. So I'm good to go to run the installation for this. So copy in the installation commands. I need to update the username and password. So I've got my super secure Elastic set up. Now we'll download and install. And I've actually downloaded Elastic Agent on this computer before, so it's going to be using the cached version. And now the agent has been installed. And so we come back over to the cloud page, and we hit the have run the command button. And I actually know already that this is going to fail. If you're using a custom CA cert or custom certs, you will need to modify the agent YAML to include your CA cert. So there doesn't seem to be any way to add that in before you've done the install. So if you're using custom certs, the first installation is going to fail. So at this point, we get the metrics not received warning, and we can come in here to the troubleshooting guide to find out what's going on there. And so there's a variety of different options that they have for things that could be going wrong. There's a couple of ways that we could go about this. So they've got an installation layout for the Elastic Agent, so we can find where the logs are. And so for Linux, they're an opt Elastic Agent data, and then some agent-specific directories. And then the agent also has a variety of commands that we can run against it. The diagnostics command can be super helpful. It'll grab a zip bundle that includes the logs and some configuration files. It includes an environment variables file, so you can see what environment variables the agent can see, which can be helpful in troubleshooting if you're using environment variables in the configuration anywhere. We'll be wanting to check the status of the agent, and then later, after we've made the updates that we need, we're going to want to run the restart command. And so we're going to check the status to try to see more of what's wrong. And so then we see down at the bottom here the expected certificate error. We've got a X509 certificate signed by unknown authority. And so that's one that comes up right here in the troubleshooting guide. Is the agent's failing to connect because it doesn't recognize my SSL cert. And so then if you click in here, we've got instructions on how to resolve this issue. And so we need to update the elasticagent.yaml file. And so for Linux, we are here. So we're going to update this file, and we're going to add the CA cert information into the YAML file. You've got an option of either using environment variables or to just hard code a path. And so I'm just going to choose to hard code a path here. In their guidelines here, they say that, okay, we've got a couple different modules, and we need to add the cert information into each of those modules. They show two different modules here, but we find that when I open up the agent YAML, I've actually got three different modules. So I've got the metrics module, templates module that they had here, but then we've also got this less frequent metrics module. And so I'm going to be adding the SSL cert information into all three of those modules. So I want to make sure that the lines match up in indentation, and then the list lines up as well. So we've got the SSL certificate authority in all three of the modules. So we're going to write that file, and then we are going to restart the Elastic Agent to get the status again. And we see that the agent status is okay. It says the fleet not enrolled to fleet. That's fine. We're not using fleet for this agent. So we've got the agent status is okay. And so we're going to come back over here and hit the try again button to verify that metrics are being shipped. And so now we see that we've successfully established a connection. We're shipping metrics up to the Elastic Agent. AutoOps will collect those metrics for a little while and do some analysis on it. And once that's done, we'll be able to click into this Open AutoOps button. But actually, we can already just go in to the connected clusters, and we find that we've added a second connected cluster. And so we can click into that one and see the AutoOps information. And so we can see the different resources in the cluster and see that they've been successfully sending some metrics up. That's how we walk through the installation on Linux for the AutoOps agent.